Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here online. Hello, in person. How wonderful. Some people have asked, how was your week? Or how are you? And some weeks it's fine, you can schmooze. We're here to schmooze. Some weeks are easier and some weeks are harder, and some weeks there's more good than bad, and some weeks, the bad is more recent, and it's hard to find what it eclipses. But I have to tell you, I look forward to Shabbos each week in whatever form it comes. Sometimes it's a meal sitting around a table with a nice bottle of grape juice, and we get to share stories, and we get to just talk with nowhere to go and no schedule. And sometimes it means coming here and singing together and just being a community and hearing voices blend, which we don't get to hear online, but we get to hear when we're here. So I hope that we can sing together tonight as we go through the prayers of Friday night. We're on page 5 in our CD. The bottom of page 5 is Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitkhem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn to page 11. I'm stuck on the first word of page 11, which is lechu, which means let's go. Maybe you know this word from like lechi lach, means it's what God said to Abraham and Sarah, is go on a journey, or holech, or the Hebrew word halacha, which is Jewish law, but it just means the journey, the path that we're taking. And so this word lechu, Naranana, means let's go and sing a song. I wonder why that's there. If King David wrote this 3,000 years ago, or whoever wrote these words at some point long, long ago, to include this word, lechu, as if to say, if we're going to sing a song, we can't stay right here. We actually have to change locations. We have to go somewhere. We have to be comfortable somewhere. And so to sit at home and sing this by yourself is one thing, but to lechu, to go somewhere and actually have a moment where you get to sing together, where you're maybe more comfortable to sing together, is the goal of this. And so we'll sing on page 11, Lechu Neranana. Let us all go and sing this song.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzor yishenu, nikadma fanav b'todah, bizmirot nariya lo, nikadma fanav b'todah, bizmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher biyado mechkerei aretz v'toavot harim lo asher biyado mechkerei aretz v'toavot harim
We turn forward, page 14?
Yes.
Page 14 at the red arrow, Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, ישמחו השמיים ותעגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותעגל הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו, 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 ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותעגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותעגל הארץ.
We're on page 20 at the red arrow there with Romemu.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קדשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קדשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קדשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קדשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
Page 23, Lecha Dodi.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה בחשמה ותהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך הפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabla ay 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabla ay 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 hitna ari me'afar kumi livshi bigdei tifartechami al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi karva el nafshi ge'ala hitna'ari hitoreri kiva orechu miori uri uri shir daberi כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, יללה, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, איי, 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה, יללה, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, לא תבושי ולא תקומי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יחסו אני אמי, ונפנתה עיר על תילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יללה, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה, איי, 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה, יללה, 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 בני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה, והיו למשיסה שוסייך, ורחקו כל מברייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כי ימסוס חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה.
Abel, we rise as we turn towards the door for the last verse.
בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה.
You may be seated. Page 28?
Looked at me when you said you may be seated.
I don't know, sure. Page 27 or 28?
Don't we want to know if anybody had any fun things that they did this week or good
Sure, let's stop here and do that. We haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, really.
Maybe we need that today. Anyone have a highlight from this week or like the last 3 months that they want to share? Something positive? Great, see? Okay, Eleanor, okay. The first great-grandchild who's a Feinberg. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
5 weeks ago. Where do they live? In Sherman. Oh, not so far away. Right, everybody else is pretty far. How wonderful. Well, mazel tov to the two of you. Your 4th great-grandchild.
Oh, my gosh.
Mazel tov. That's wonderful. Steve, is that also what you were going to share? Oh. Great, perfect. Mazal tov.
Yes.
Right. Any others? Something happy? Something mediocre?
I can share this morning, you and I, were in that room with how many kids?
300 kids
300 kids
in costumes.
in costumes. And boy, oh boy, it was so sweet, just to stand in there and hear the roar of all the kids getting so excited about Purim and Shabbat. It was really sweet, very sweet. So, oh yeah,
Yes, a lot of Spider-Mans,
yes, yeah,
a lot of Frozen,
yes.
2 Luigis, but no Marios. Interesting how that happens. Isaiah was Luigi, and some other kid was Luigi, but no Mario.
No. Crayons?
And we were a box of crayons. It's just nice to have all of this in there, and so many parents and grandparents or whoever else in there celebrating with us. Purim is the holiday of balagan, which is a Yiddish word that means just craziness, some sort of chaos. And so it was loud and it was exciting, which is then tomorrow night, more Purim, and then Sunday morning, more Purim. And if you go to Jerusalem, on Monday, more Purim, which when I was living in Israel for that year, I had an internship in a town called Pardes Chana Karkur, which is between Tel Aviv and Haifa. And so we had Purim there, and then we came back to Jerusalem, and we had another day of Purim there. Purim was like a 4-day holiday back then. All right, so that was a highlight as well.
Highlight of this week.
Anybody else on spring break? Is that a highlight? Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, maybe. So. For the kids. Yeah, you get to watch all the movies you want to watch.
And basketball games.
I know. All right, anything else? Any other highlights? Yes. Oh. Next week is a Shabbaton. There will be a lot of us who are not here, so tell your friends to come here because otherwise it'll be empty here. But next weekend, a bunch of us will be at Camp Alonim at Brandeis Bardin Institute for a Shabbaton, for celebrating Shabbat over there, which is wonderful. Harriet. Okay. Oh, wow.
Very nice.
I will not watch it, but you can show it to our class if you want. You can bring in a computer, we could plug it in. But how wonderful that there was, over on the East Coast, there was a show that your granddaughter was snuck into so that she could participate. That's pretty neat. Carol. Yeah. Right. That's incredible. There was a documentary that we aired, that we showed Monday night right in here that was called Spellers, about people with autism who communicate by these boards. And what's
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Wow.
so beautiful. Thank you. Other highlights? I will say a blessing for that. You can join us in the blessing. It ends with Hatov V'ha Meitiv. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Hatov V'ha Meitiv. One of our goals as a synagogue is to be welcoming. It's why we face the door at the end of Lachad Odi to welcome people in. On page 26 in our Siddur, there is a line that we say to people when they are in their first week of mourning. You take a break from Shiva to join the community as just another part of the community. And so to Shirley and Michal and Panina, we extend our love to you. And we say these words, the first line on page 26. Hamakom inachem etchem Betoch Sha'ar Avelei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May the divine comfort you along with all the other mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. May you find comfort in our community, and may you find comfort with the Creator, with the Almighty. But I hope that our community showing up and saying prayers and eating some of the desserts in your house brought a little bit of comfort to you, and I'm sure you have more desserts that are in the freezer that you'll have to finish before Pesach. So, but glad that you're here with us tonight. Page 27. We'll say the psalm for Shabbat on page 27.
Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve'emunatcha balelot, alei asar ve'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor, mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon.
One of the highlights of my week, was I had a wedding yesterday in Malibu at Moon Shadows, in a room overlooking the ocean. And so there's this corner room, the corner window right there. And it was a small wedding, and so there were 20-something people there, and all of them were standing very close to the chuppah, all of them with at least one phone, if not two phones out, recording this whole thing in case anybody wants to see this from 30 different perspectives all at the same time. I don't know who's going to be watching this wedding in the future, but it was beautiful to come together for something so positive. And at all of our happy moments, at all of our joyous moments, especially at weddings, we take a moment to realize that the world makes no sense. And so what we do, this Jewish custom, you've seen it done, you've done it yourself, is you take a glass and you wrap it in a napkin and you put it on the floor, and the groom traditionally stomps on it with his foot, and the rabbi makes the same joke every time. This is the last time you could put your foot down, or maybe this is the last time you could break something without getting in trouble, whatever it is. And everybody says Mazel Tov, and it's a beautiful moment. And you go, why are we doing this? Why are we breaking this glass here? This moment is so happy. Are we this miserable as Jews that we have to take the most joyous occasion we can think of and ruin it by this? And there's a lot of reasons behind it, but one of it is that we're aware that the world makes no sense. To stand there with this couple in this moment of pure joy, it's a unique situation, because I also knew at that moment that the bride's father wasn't there because he's in a hospice right now. And so the extra weight of saying this world is imperfect and this world makes no sense. At any other wedding, even when they're young and everybody's healthy, there's still this sense that the world is broken. And we bring that right there to this moment, saying, I know that you're celebrating, but remember. And as all of us, not just Jews with tsuris, but with anybody, no matter how happy and healthy you're feeling at any moment, you're looking out over the ocean as the sun is setting and everything is perfect. At the same time, you're aware that we have bodies that are aching and ailing. We have problems, and if not us, then somebody we love so deeply is going through something difficult. And if not there, then we know that we as Jews are going that. We know that there are people with positions of power who are making decisions that greatly affect us on the other side of the globe. We are fully aware that there are people in positions of power who are doing things that could bring a quicker end to humanity or the planet, and to hold all of this at once is just impossible. And so we take a little moment here and there to remember this. I think that's what religion is supposed to do. To remind you, to remind us, not that our God is greater or mightier than yours, It's to remind us that this world is broken and that we are struggling, that the best that we can do is get through this, and the best that we can have is a God who's also struggling. The fact that the Torah starts, the first thing that God does is create something not ex nihilo, not out of nothing, but from tohu vavohu, from the chaos of the world, from the chaos of what exists, and God takes it and forms it into something usable. And this is what we do as people, as Jews, as we take the chaos of the world and we try our best to form it somehow into something usable. This week we read the beginning of Vayikra, the beginning of the book of Leviticus. And in the beginning of the book of Leviticus, it tells us exactly what to do when the world falls apart. And you know these things. We've read these things. I often skip over this part of the Torah because it's not so much fun to read. There's no plot here. There are no characters. It's just this kind of sacrifice and that kind of sacrifice. But the more you read it, you realize that if you've narrowly escaped something dangerous, if you are grateful for your life because you know what could have been, you offer an olah sacrifice, like aliyah, something that goes up. And if you are in a moment of gratitude, you had a baby or you had a fourth great-grandchild, you got to see something beautiful, you offer a shlemim sacrifice. And I don't think we're offering these sacrifices historically because it brings about some sort of perfection, that God is taking in this olah sacrifice and you are annulled of your sin or something like that. But we offer these sacrifices to right ourselves, to figure out if there's a balance in this chaos. And it's strange to read those words at the same time as the other words we'll read tomorrow morning, which this is called Shabbat Zachor, the Shabbat of memory, of remembering the fact that there was a really bad guy, and he did really bad things. His name was Amalek, and he did really bad things. We read it right before Purim, because Amalek's descendant is Haman. Boo. And Haman is so bad that even here we are 2,500 years later booing his name. And we read that this week because going into Purim, we are aware that the world is upside down. In fact, it says in chapter 9 of the book of Esther, the world is upside down. And you ask yourself this question of when the world is upside down, what do you do? How do you react? How do you make some sort of sense of the world when it makes no sense? And Purim's answer is you put on the craziest costume you can, you put on a mask, and you get obliterated. You drink as many Jell-O shots as you can. We have watermelon-flavored Jell-O shots tomorrow night if you want to come by for that. And that's what you do. You grapple with the fact that the world makes no sense. By going, the world makes no sense, I'm just going to drink myself to obliteration. I'm going to put on the craziest clothes and outfits. I'm going to harm myself, because that will make sense of the world somehow. And I think many of us are guilty of that on a normal basis. You had a tough day, you come home, you pour yourself a scotch, you open up a beer, you do something that you know isn't healthy, but at the same time, cracking that pint of Haagen-Dazs is going to help just a little bit. The other side of the year, 6 months from now, not that we have to mark our calendars yet, but 6 months from now is a day that is like Purim. It's called Yom Kippurim, which translates to a day that is like Purim. And another day when we realize the world makes no sense. Our life is upside down and we are struggling in this chaos. And how do we approach that? We fast. We wear uncomfortable shoes. Some people wear only white as if they are being buried that day. And we strike ourselves over and over for all of the things that we did wrong. Because we need to somehow make sense of this world that doesn't make sense as we're struggling through it. But I think that Purim and Yom Kippur are two examples of how to grapple with the struggles of life. One is to do something toxic to ourselves, and one is to starve ourselves and blame ourselves for everything that's wrong. And I'm grateful that they're each one day, except if you somehow strike it so you go to Jerusalem on the second day, then it's 2 days of Purim. I'm grateful that they're each one day and 6 months apart, because neither of them is healthy. Getting drunk or putting on the craziest clothes or just giving up on normal life isn't healthy. And striking yourself for all the things you did wrong and starving yourself isn't healthy. And Judaism is urging us to find a balance. And I think the balance that we came up with, I think the answer we have now is Shabbos, is Shabbat. Taking a day to just try to find that zero. Try to find that place in between. And maybe you have a glass of wine, but you don't get obliterated like it's Purim. Or maybe you dress differently and you wear different shoes and you try to take in the day and try to focus on who you want to be, but it's not Yom Kippur. That our job is trying to find order in this chaos, and the word for that in Hebrew is kadosh, is trying to find holiness, which just means separate. How do you separate yourself from who you are striving to be and who you're beating yourself up for not being? How do you find that? I'm grateful that we're here in a week that for me, for you, for some of us was really, really painful. To try to find that kadosh. And I know some people would respond to this week that you had, that I had, that some of us had, by opening that bottle, by opening that ice cream, by doing something that's unhealthy. And some people would go into it by locking themselves in a room and weeping and striking themselves and what did I do wrong? And Judaism says we find this balance in there. We try to find this separateness to make it holy. So I'm grateful that we have this place to call holy. I'm grateful that we have one day, tomorrow night and Sunday, to celebrate a little bit, to thank God that we're alive, that we made it through all the hardships. And I'm grateful that 6 months from now we'll have 1,400 people in this room, God willing, to once again acknowledge that we made it through something impossible. Otherwise, every day we're grappling with the fact that we're trying to make some order out of chaos. And hopefully there's some compassion for ourselves, that God is with us, we've got a community with us as well. Shabbat Shalom. We have candles up here that have already been lit. Thank you, Jill, I believe, and Alicia, or whoever else lit the candles. We're going to say the blessing over the candles to appreciate the fact that we're bringing light into the world. Anybody who would like to join us up here is welcome to say this blessing with us. We're not going to hold a microphone up to you, just to bring a little bit more light and joy and kindness into the world. You're welcome to join us up here. Those who are able, we rise as they make their way back to their Shabbat Shalom. We're on page 39, and we turn towards the ark for the words of Baruch Hu, the beginning of the evening service.
Yai la 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 la. La 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach hamevorach leolam va'ed. Hamevorach hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
You may be seated.
Uma'avir yom umei v'layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai, Amariv Aravim.
Amen. Page 40.
Avat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachveinu v'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu be'orech yameinu, Uvahem nege yamam v'layla. V'avatcha tasim imenu le'olamim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, B'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom alevavecha, b'shinanta aham levanecha, b'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'beitecha, uvlechtecha havaderech, uvshochbecha uvekumecha, ukshartam leod al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Vayam shmu et mitzvotai asher nachim et zevcha et tve'el hayom. Adonai Elohechem emet.
We continue page 44 as we lead into Micha Mocha.
Micha mocha bo'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar ba'kodesh, Norati lo osefele, Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, Bokeyam lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli anu ve'amiru, Adonai imlo leolam va'ed, V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov, V'lo miad chazak mimenu, Baruch Ata Adonai.
Invite Bill Kopke up to chant Hashki Venu, to sing Hashki Venu on page 45 in memory of his dear Jeannie.
Yes. I'm dedicating this to my late wife, Jean DeConti, who passed 16 years ago. And I'll just let you know beforehand, when it comes to music, she's very old school. So this is going to be a little bit slower than what you're used to with Hashkivena.
Okay.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu makenu l'chayim, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, v'tachnenu be'etzah tova milfanecha, v'hoshichenu leman Shemecha V'hagen b'hadeinu V'haser me'aleinu Oyev dever v'cherev v'raha v'yakom v'haser satan me'ilfaneinu u'me'achareinu u'vetzel kinafecha tastirenu Ki el shomrenu matzilenu hata Ki el melech chanun verachmata Ushmo tzetenu uvoenu l'chaim Shalom Me'ata Be'ar Olam Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha Baruch Ata Adonai Haporeh Sukkot Shalom Aleinu V'hakol Hamo Yisrael V'ah Yerushalayim
Thank you, Bill. If you're able, we rise. Page 46, V'shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם שבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Invite Marlo up to lead us in a Chatzi Kaddish, the middle of page 46.
Yikada v'yikada shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'amadi v'rakute v'yamlichmahute. V'hayechonu v'yamechu. V'vayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala. U'bizman karim. V'imeru, amen. Yehi shnei rabba mevorach. Olam olam ve'omaya Tabal, Viet Pa'ar, Viet Ramon, Viet Nase, Viet Hadar, Viet Hale, Viet Halal, Shemay Dakudisha, Barehu, Le Ela, Minko, Birchata, Vishirata, Tush Behata, Benehemata, Da'amiram Behalama, Ve'imeru, Amen.
Amen. We're on page 47, the individual Amidah. Take just a moment for personal prayer. When you're finished, you may be seated.
Ose shalom bimromah, Uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ose shalom bimromah, Uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Iyaseh shalom, iyaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Iyaseh shalom, iyaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
On the inside back cover of the Siddur, the words for Misha Berach. We'll take a moment in the middle of the prayer to add names of people who we're praying for, people who could use healing of body and healing of soul. And we'll sing together, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Yitzchak ben Ruchel, Menucha bat Necha, Shlomo ben Rivka, Rivka bat Sarah, Yonatan Reuven ben Rivka, Lazer ben Chava, Yehudit Bluma bat Sarah, Harav Chaim Yaakov ben Pesha, Chava Freila bat Meira Noga, Naphtali ben Devora, Meira Yaakov bat Gitabraina, Shoshana bat Yehudit, Yehudit bat Sarah, Yosef ben Devora, Moshe ben Yehudit, Rabbi Ilana Grinblatt, Greg Watson, David Gould, Andrew Jennings, Asa Luo, Al Sanderson, Shirley Rutkovitz, John Ogle, Ron Kadish, Diana Baffa-Brill, Carl Weiss, Gary Engler, Jeff Lewis, Barry Perkin, Katrinka Schiffman, Stephen Ross, Miriam Garfield, Eileen Malis, Chanalea bat Alice, Shani bat Rachel, Toby bat Miriam, Larry Zolkowitz, Harav Masha Rachel bat Godalea, Batya bat Rina, Rachel Votash, Ronald Hartman, Labe ben Kasil, Shmuel ben Esther, Pesa bat Bracha, Fega Meira bat Reitza, Joy Rosenthal, Adam Swartz, Avraham Yaakov ben Sarah, Victor Goldstein, Chaya Malka bat Ruchel, Jill Powell, Chaim Yehuda ben Chana, Rav Yitzchak, Zev ben Sarah Leah, Yitzchak ben Fega, Maya Ruth bat Esther, Reuven ben Brana, Moshe ben Fega, Erica Petrus.
Misha Berach imotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Page 54, we continue Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkadav Yitkadav Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yalma Divra Kirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon U'V'Yamechon U'V'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael B'Galav Yizman Kari V'Immeru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam Ul'al Me'omaya Yitvarach Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitnasei V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalau Shemei D'Kudusha
Rechu.
Ela min kol b'chata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'lechamata, damiram b'yama v'immeru.
Amen.
Yitkabal tzloton ba'oton, dechol Yisrael, kadama v'honda v'ishmaya v'immeru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'immeru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'immeru. Amen.
On page 55 is Kiddush. Those who are able, we rise. Thanks.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
motzi later? Even later or now? I'll do later. All right. No, it's hard to say Aleinu with a mouthful of challah. And maybe, Talia, are you okay to do motzi later if you're still here in 5 minutes? Super,
Okay.
super. Page 56, we remain standing for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
You may be seated. This week, this middle of the month of Adar Bet, we note the yahrzeits of Elaine Schermerhorn, Esther Grifkin, Benjamin Druin, Harry Gordon, Edward Rothenberg, Isaac Pivovarov, Estelle Lerner, Sarah Litmanovich, Francis Kay, Frank Weiner, Arlen Pomish, Samuel Scheinhaus, Benjamin Weiss, Jean DeConti Kupke, Alice Shragai, Jeffrey Finn, Jack Langsam, Saul Schleckman, Fritz Lindeck, Milton Radman, Sonia Gluck, Sarah Rudman, Louis Langsam, Sadie Hausner, Howard Golov, and James Price. In addition, we're in Shloshim this first month of mourning for Skip Rizzo, Gene Geller, Alan Lipkin, and Stuart Levinson. May their memories be a blessing. Other names to add tonight? Does anyone who have a yahrzeit want to share a brief memory of who? You want me to can I bring a microphone down to you? Can I bring a microphone to you so that we can all hear? Okay. Is that good? Here.
Died 19 years ago, which seems long, but in another way it seems short. A couple little highlights. My mother was on hospice when my daughter was expecting what was our 8th grandchild. And she said, if you have a girl, Dora, do not name her Estelle. She'll hate you forever. And you know who she was named after. I'll tell you is that we recently had a little get-together when cousins from out of town were here. And we were talking, and every time I looked around, somebody was talking about my mother, about something. She had the way, she was really very not a complicated woman, but she had a little different relationship with everybody in the family. And one of them would say, you know, remember when Grandma did whatever? I never heard about that. And it was like she had this relationship with everybody. And I really appreciated her. I appreciated her when she was alive, but I didn't understand how much impact she would have on so many people in our family. And even the teenagers who were alive before she was born, before Emma was born, have these little stories about her, some of which I'd never heard. So it makes me think that you don't have to make a big splash in the world to have a lot of influence on people, and positive influence on me.
Anyone else want to sit in Eleanor's chair to share a brief memory? Do you want to say? Okay, Steve.
Hello. So my father, Howard Golov, passed on, 2 years ago today. He was born in the Bronx, New York, raised for the first couple of years by his mother in a neighborhood called Fort Apache. Some of you may have heard of a movie called Fort Apache, the Bronx. He always got a kick out of, watching the movie and saying, I used to live there. I think he was really far too young to really remember living there, but he was there for the first few years of his life while my grandfather, Joey Golov, was serving in the World War. When he came back, they moved to suburbia, Flushing, Queens, borough of eccentric personalities, to say the least. They lived in a little co-op, about a 1.5 bedroom co-op, where my father and uncle shared a small room and a trundle bed, so very, very constrained environment. My father went to Flushing High School, then he went to college in upstate New York, where he met my mother, and they raised a family. I have a brother, and we were raised in Rochester. So my dad was easily the kindest man I ever knew. Was not appreciated as much while he was around, but is really appreciated now, and we miss him dearly. Thank you.
Bill, you want to come up here? I never saw Fort Apache. I just assumed that it was about the Wild West, but no, it's about the Bronx. Okay. There is one out west also. Okay, but the movie is not about Arizona. It's about the Bronx. No, I just assumed it was one of the westerns from like the 40s. All right.
This is for my late wife, Jean DeConti, who passed 16 years ago. I don't know if many of you knew her. A few of you did, yes, and I'm sure you all had. Anyway, she was very nice. She was very upbeat. She and I met in law school, and we supported each other through all the exams and the bar exam, and we really helped each other when things were getting kind of tough. And then we practiced law, and I had to deal with some attorneys sometimes, and I'd come home, I wanted to kill it. Never mind. Anyway, she calmed me down, and by the end of the night, I was laughing about it all. She had a way of putting it all in perspective. She was always very upbeat and joyful, and particularly in the end when she had cancer and was she was doing the chemotherapy, and she was always still joyful, even though she was still weak and tired, but she was still upbeat and making jokes. And after she passed, I remember I had one dream about her. She was standing in front of me, so radiant, and she lifted up her arms and she says, "Look, Bill, no more chemo." And I said, "That's great." And I went over to hug her, and then she vanished, and I woke up, and I said, "Oh, darn." Anyway.
Okay. I appreciate when people share. It just brings a little bit of life to a list of names. I know maybe we'll hear more about Jeff Finn tomorrow, but we still get together every year in memory of Jeff and have, I think it's steak and scotch that we have in memory of him. So if you're interested in celebrating Jeff Finn, whether you knew him or not, once a year we go out there, somewhere outside, and we grill a good piece of tofu, and we pour scotch or have beers or just some nice soda, and Buzz makes some marinade with garlic and olive oil or something, and we get to toast Jeff, who really did a lot for this community. And the other one to note today, although there's a lot more to say about a lot of people is Frank Weiner. Frank helped build this synagogue. He and his wife Eva were members here long ago, and the Weiner Chapel is named for them. And I get a kick that their great-grandchildren go to Hebrew school and preschool here. It's quite a unique thing to have somehow the family still around in our community. So may all their memories be a blessing. Hopefully we get to hear more stories this week. If you're in a period of mourning, if you're observing a yard site, you're welcome to rise and to join with us in the words of mourners. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah be'alma divra kirutei ve'amlich malchutei chon uvyomechon uvachaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ul'olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, uya asei shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Thank you, Cantor Kenny, for leading us. Mariana, I know some of you like watch, basketball or football or something, but when I have some free time in my office, I watch services at other synagogues around the world, because now it's all online somewhere. And one of my favorite synagogues is called the Amichai. It's just they do it's a unique, very different feel, and Mariano is visiting them right now. So Mariano, if you're watching, we miss you, but hopefully you're not, because it's a weird time over there.
He actually sent us a clip today.
He sent us a clip of their rehearsal today, which is a really neat thing to see people I've seen only on the TV. Now I see them looking human in my phone, which is neat.
Really?
Tonight after services, you're welcome to join us for a little bite to eat. In Spiegel Hall. Tomorrow morning, 9:30, we have services here. Tomorrow night, starting at 6:45, we'll have Mariv and then Havdalah and 80s trivia and Megillah reading and a really fun, silly play. So if you're interested in a little bit of silliness, you can join us for that. Purim is always a little bit wacky. And then Sunday morning, again with Minyan, we'll have more Megillah reading. We'll have 200 kids in costume in here. Doing their cuteness, and then we have the carnival at 11:30 in the morning. And we hope that the weather is cooperating. It should be. It should be. They say it's gonna. That's great.
So we have to park on the street on Sunday because of the...
Yeah, this area will be cordoned off. You can't park so close.
Just saying.
In the weeks to come, there's the Shabbaton next weekend, which means a lot of us will be away. If you're here, come. And the weekend after that is our scholar in residence. Shira Talushkin is a young woman who has done a lot of scholarship in a number of things. The future of Judaism is one of her main ones, as well as what Jews believe about angels and demons. Not the book, but angels and demons. And it's something I often get asked, and I'm so glad that I can say, I don't know. Come listen to Shira at one of her 4 talks. And she'll explain some of these really interesting things that we have believed at some point in the past or where she believes we're going. And then there's Pesach. We're going to have second night Seder here. So if you want to join us for the second night of Pesach, you don't have to cook. You could just show up and we'll sing together and we'll learn together. Other big events coming up. We have another speaker. We have a speaker from the IDF coming. Some in April. Am I forgetting anything?
Lots of things.
Okay, anyway, thank you. Join us for some of them. All right, we'll do Hatikva. And then after Hatikva, Talia, you'll join us for Motzi up here in just a minute? Okay, I'm going to get the challah ready. Those who are able, we rise. If you want to follow along with the words of Hatikva, they're in our Siddur on page 448. And we rise and face the flag of Israel for these words of hope.
Kol od balevav penima ne Yesh Yehudi Homia Ufate Mizrach Kadima Ain Letzion Sophia Olo Avda Tikvatenu Hatikva Bat Shnot Alpayim Liotam Chovshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Tzion B'Yerushalayim Liotam Chovshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Tzion B'Yerushalayim.
Talia, gotta come up here.
Motzi time. Here she comes.
Here she comes now singing Motzi, Motzi, bum.
She's our Motzi person today.
All right, you ready? You're going to start with that part?
Motzi.
Baruch. Okay, go for it.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Great job.
Just break it off. Take it.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us in Spiegel Hall.